All right, class, prepare your slides. This is Mona Lisa Smile.
That was cute.
Thank you. So today we have on another guest. We are in our hosting era of the podcast where we're finally in the groove and getting more and more exciting people to come on and talk to us. Today we have Heather Saunders on.
Hi,
Hi,
guys.
Heather.
Hi.
So Heather and I know each other through the same way that Anna and I know each other through a Facebook group for podcasts. So I'm just gonna keep mining from the Ringerverse and Big Picture groups for as long as I want, because honestly, it's been a 10 out of 10 so far for guests. So thank you for agreeing to come on and talk to us.
Of course.
And
yeah, we know our stuff, man.
you know what? We do. Ringer fans, we are elite guests and, pretty not too shabby hosts, I'd say.
Yeah.
So we have Heather on today to talk about one of her favorite comfort movies and a movie I haven't seen in a really long time, but I had such an enjoyable rewatch of this. We're talking about the 2003 film Mona Lisa Smile, directed by Mike Newell, who also, when I was looking up his IMDb, he also did Donnie Brasco, Pushing Tin, Four Weddings and a Funeral, and the fourth Harry Potter movie.
I saw you put that. That is amazing.
He's had a very diverse film career. He's kind of, really scattershot as far as genre. He's kind of just a journeyman, a workman kind of director who's done quite a bit of interesting things. And I think this is one of his only really female-led casts and women-centered stories. So I thought that was an interesting kind of sidestep for him outside of his normal work around this time, especially. I think, Lindsay, you're a big Goblet of Fire.
My favorite is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I also really like Goblet of Fire.
That is definitely my least favorite. And I think part of the reason why is because of the things that work so well in this movie. Like the fact that so much of Goblet of Fire takes place surrounded around the school events and who's gonna go to the dance with who? Your world is falling apart and y'all are worried about this damn school dance. Get it together. Show me the fucking Triwizard Tournament, please.
So you don't like the whimsy part of that?
I actually don't. I don't. I'm get it out of here. Hurry up. I don't give a fuck what Hermione's dress looks like. I was
just
sorry.
thinking, I loved getting to see Hermione walk down in her pretty dress.
For some reason, I couldn't care less.
I love the dress too. I was like,
wow.
After reading the book and then seeing the dress on the screen, I was like, oh, I loved it. It was the big awe moment.
Absolutely nothing. I was like, that's fine. Get Victor Crumb out of here. The way he directed that movie, I found a lot of similarities to this movie, actually. As far as the way he focuses on all the students and all their little intimate moments, and the fact that there is weddings and a school dance, and it kind of follows a lot of the same beats, but just in a very different outcome. And I think much more successful for me in Mona Lisa Smile. But there's definitely some crossover there.
That's so funny you say that, because now I'm thinking about all of the different love elements in Goblet of Fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so different from all the other movies.
Mm-hmm. And you see a lot of what he did in this movie.
Yeah.
Now I have to watch them back to back.
Yeah. Actually, that would be that'd be an interesting double feature.
Goblet of Fire now.
Yeah. The private school, they're all trapped away, getting on each other's nerves.
Mona Lisa Smile recommendation is Harry Potter.
And who's in this movie, Lindsay? Can you read out the cast for us?
Yes, this is a very big female cast.
Huge cast.
We've got Julia Roberts playing Catherine Watson, Julia Stiles playing Joan Brandwin, Kirsten Dunst playing Betty Warren, Maggie Gyllenhaal playing Giselle Levy, Marcia Gay Harden playing Nancy Abbey, Jennifer Goodwin playing Connie Baker, and Dominic West playing Bill Dunbar.
Ooh.
I actually liked him.
What? Oh, Heather. Oh, wow.
Kind of.
Defend yourself. Well, we'll get you're gonna have to defend. Oh boy.
I like aspects of him.
I know it's a red flag.
Yeah, babe. That's a red flag. Bill, oh my god, that man had me so tight in this movie. He had me so mad.
It follows a class of lovely girls over the course of the 53-54 school year, and their new West Coast professor from UCLA, while they concern themselves with the etiquette, marriage, and homemaking, their Spencer professor opens their minds and hearts.
So why did you want to talk about this movie, Heather? Like, what's it about Mona Lisa's smile that connects with you so much? Because in your pitch email, you were like, this is the movie, and I can't wait to tell you why. So tell us why.
Well, you know how much I love movies, but like at that time, it was 2003. I graduated from high school, going into college. It was a lot of change for me and staying the same. So like I always like loved the 50s. It kind of seemed idyllic at the time. So when it came out, I wanted to see it. Didn't make it this year. My mom bought it for me. I watched it on TV, but like their world is changing. They're forming their worldview. They're everything. Like it's not what they thought it was going to be. I think Betty changed the most out of all of them. Like the world is not as idyllic as you think it was, and that's how I felt when I first watched it. Because I'm going from a kid in high school thinking like, yeah, it's my world's idyllic to like, oh, I'm an adult. But also it's like comforting knowing that it's still kind of safe because I'm still like learning and I'm still going through choices. It's just kind of, also I love the soundtrack too.
Aw, I love that. So it's a perfect like coming of age story for a young woman.
Yeah.
I see.
And also
I agree.
Art.
Mm-hmm. Oh right, yeah, because we both are art school students. Yeah, so I think I'm 2-3 years behind you. So I was about 15, 16 when this came out.
Yeah.
And I love it too, but I didn't see it in theaters. I'm pretty sure I saw this on TV a lot.
Yeah.
Growing up, but the cast is just, we'll get into it, but this cast, it's
Chef's kiss.
It's so good. It's so good. Every up and down the line, you're just like, holy shit, so-and-so is in this movie? Oh my god, that's so-and-so. Wow, holy shit, this is Julia Roberts, like, right after her Oscar win, and, like, she's at the top. You know, she's in Ocean's 11 and all those movies, just coming off of Erin Brockovich and all of that. She was, like, the biggest movie star in the world at that point.
Yeah, I forgot the cameo from, the guy from Mad Men was in there.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
John Slattery.
Yes.
Yeah, he plays her boyfriend.
Yeah.
He
was only in there for a hot minute, but he kind of like sold it too.
Yeah, this is a few years before Mad Men, so he was still kind of in that like character actor, like a little bit unknown zone as well. But yeah, John Slattery. I totally forgot he was in this movie, but there's a whole bunch of people like that where I'm like, oh my god. So so for you, the theme, Heather, is coming of age, basically. And changing, coming to terms with being a young woman in the world. What about you, Lindsay?
I think there's a lot of choice in this movie. Mm-hmm. And I guess like the autonomy of women in the 50s, but still like very...
Oh, like predetermined, you mean?
Yeah.
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 As far as like it's like you're saying it's like the illusion of choice.
Yeah, it's like we're in this classroom, we're in school, but our futures are already kind of like determined for us. Mm-hmm. But we're just gonna make these choices anyways.
Yeah, and it's like, do you even have control? There's a specific character I'm thinking about. Oh man, yeah. There's a specific character who makes a choice, and I'm like, babe, this wasn't a choice. This shit was already you just played right into this person's hand. Like, you didn't have a choice. You think you do. You think this is what you want, but is it? And did you even choose this? Or was it basically handed to you on a silver platter and
Yeah.
you
I guess
just took it?
the illusion of choice. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great concept. For me, I feel like this is a reoccurring theme, especially movies we've been covering lately, but I'm just always so touched by, but also so kind of saddened by the sacrifices that are a part of being a woman in this world. I feel like there's always a choice or a sacrifice or something that we're always having to give up in order to get married, have kids, or have a career, or there's always something that women have to sacrifice, basically, to have the life that they want or to have the life that they're expected to. So expectation and sacrifice are, I feel like we talked a lot about that with Pride and Prejudice, Lindsay.
Yeah, we've been talking about it in Power of the Dog too, which also has Kirsten Dunst.
Yes, true.
I need to watch that one.
Yeah, I think you would like, even if you're not like a big Western person.
I love Westerns.
Oh, then yeah, you'll love Power of the Dog. Benedict Cumberbatch is such a bastard in it. He's so good though. And yes, this is our second Kirsten Dunst movie we're covering, and I love her. She's one of my favorite actresses, and I'm positive we'll be covering more of hers. Do you? Good. Yeah. We'll definitely be covering Virgin Suicides at some point.
I just watched that for the first time recently.
Wow.
A couple months ago. Think? I loved it. It made me so sad.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I loved it. That was so good.
Love a sad movie.
So sad. Yeah. So sad. So beautiful. You're going to have a good bad time with it.
That's my favorite time to have with movies.
That's so true. Yeah. Walk to Remember.
Oh man.
Yeah. Lest we forget.
I love a Walk to Remember.
Oh my God, Heather. Y'all like to suffer.
I've been needing a good cry lately, so that'll be good.
Yeah. Virgin Suicides we'll definitely be doing at some point. Yeah, Kirsten Dunst. She's the GOAT. She's a millennial icon. We love her. These are my unproblematic favorite white ladies. So far this list has been untouched for about a year and a half. So everybody is scandal free and just
That's
minding
really
their business.
Surprising.
I love it. I love it for me. And then of course number one is always Princess Diana.
Should we try and bet who will come out with some?
Why would you say that?
Who do we think?
Who do I think? I'm guessing it'll be
yeah, take guesses.
Take a guess. Ooh. After Baby Girl, I think it'll be Nicole Kidman.
No. Oh my God, please. I think
it'll be Charlize Theron.
Ooh, okay. That's a pretty good bet. She's from South Africa and she's a little older.
She's got a weirdness to her.
There could be. She is pretty. That's a good observation.
To keep the skin, she probably does blood sacrifices.
Heather, what is wrong with y'all? Oh my God. Anyway, I'm unsharing my list. You've seen too much. I feel exposed.
I think this was a library watch for me for the first time.
Well,
I would rent it a lot. I can't remember how old I was, but I was very young. Well, I guess I was at least maybe like 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I really registered everything that was happening very well, but I think I maybe internalized it a lot. Because I haven't seen it for a really long time, but when I watched it again, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense.
Which aspects did you recognize as like things that you had internalized from this movie?
Knowing that women are playing a role and trying my hardest to not follow along with that.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to like grapple with, especially I feel like this movie we all watched it in like our mid to late teens. And like as you're approaching adulthood, it's just so kind of like disappointing and jarring when you realize like what being like an actual like adult woman means.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean the same thing for every woman, of course, but it is a great classic kind of study on growing up and getting the quote unquote dream life and then realizing like I don't want this at all, and this isn't, this has nothing to do with who I thought I was going to be in this world.
Is everyone who they thought they would be when they were, I guess, maybe watching this for the first time?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm pretty close. I thought I would be a homeowner by now for sure, or like at least like
Well, you
have
can
my
chalk
own
that up to
space.
capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a failure of mine, but God, if I saw this when I was like 15 or 16 for the first time and I'm about to be 37, I'd say I'm pretty close to what I thought I would be or what I wanted to be, if that makes sense. What about you, Heather?
Not even close. Not even close. Well, at the time, because I've changed. At the time, I wanted to be a doctor. So I wanted to be a doctor. I thought I would like doctor, married, 2.5 kids. So like I wanted to be Joan.
I see. So you wanted the traditional like white picket fence American dream thing.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I hate school.
Big same.
So I'm like, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then like I've been sick a lot, so I'm not married. Went to art school.
Same. Yep.
A completely different opposite of what started out
like,
as Joan and ended up like yourself.
You pulled a Betty.
Yeah, I pulled a Betty.
You did. Wow, that's funny. Yeah, I think I am most like Giselle, probably.
Oh, I don't know who I'm most like.
I think I had a pretty clear vision like early on. I wasn't really like a mom in the suburbs type of person, and that's just like not something that's really ever interested me. Never like seriously dated, never had kids. Like I've always kind of been like on the fringe and like artsy, even when I'm in like not artsy or creative career paths. I still maintain that in my personal life, like with this podcast and with work I've done over the years just for fun. And like my hobbies are very creative, but I never thought really I was going to be like a very serious career and like be like a person who like lived in a house with like kids. I never saw that for myself. What about you, Lindsay? How close are you to when you saw that? I mean, you were 13, so I don't know if that's fair.
Honestly,
12 or 13.
I don't know how. I have no idea what I would have pictured myself to be like when I was older, but I'm definitely extremely different than what I think I would have envisioned.
For better or worse?
For better, for sure.
Definitely
good, for better.
Good. That's cool. So you didn't let your younger self down.
No, yeah. My younger self would be, I think, very, very pleased and be like, oh my gosh, you're so cool now.
Yes. I feel
awesome.
the same way. Yeah, I feel the same way about my younger self. I think she would think I'm really cool. I was already really cool, so nothing's changed. I've always been cool, so I just maintained.
You just elevated.
You just elevated.
Stepped into your coolness.
Leveled up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, couldn't. I'm a very consistent personality. I was like this when I was 11, when I was 20, when I was 5, when I was 35. It's yeah.
Same.
I am what I am, you know? So expanding on our themes, something else that really stuck out to me this time, because I haven't seen it since I was probably a teenager. Man, this trope, and it's not even a trope because it happens so much in real life too, you know, with me, with beautiful, smart women that I know in my life, you know, like with my mom. There's something about seeing like a hot, successful, like very capable young woman choose an absolute fucking loser to
Yes, I
date
do not get it.
twice. I'm like, Catherine, what are you doing? Like, oh my God, I didn't remember that her and Bill had that romance in this movie. I must have blocked in my hater mind. I must have like blocked it out completely, because when they kissed for the first time, I was like, what are you doing? Him? The one who's fucking on teenage students? Are we serious?
What I found really interesting about that is they never like explicitly said that he sleeps with like this, or like they never explicitly like show it.
Oh, they don't show it, but they said it multiple times that he was
Especially
sleeping with the
Giselle.
students.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
with Giselle, like they
Everybody knew.
never. It's like he wants to keep up this act so much, and they like incorporate that in the actual movie of never. I don't know.
I think it was. Well, it's like I think they were trying to keep it like the rating low, but it was just more like how Giselle like touched him and the looks. So it was more like a show, like it was more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
So like you knew, but you didn't know, and that's how like in the 50s.
True.
That's how they did it back then too.
That's a really good point. It does fit into that time period, like, and culturally how people would have discussed this, you know, like how Marcia Gay Harden's character talks about him, and she's just like, you know, he's not ideal. Nancy always has like something to say about Bill, and she's fucking right. Nancy,
I love Marcia Gay Harden. She's a queen.
She's great. She's great. I also forgot she was in this movie because I was so focused at the time I'd seen it, of course, on the younger women in the cast. I totally forgot about the adults, a lot of the adult cast in this movie. But that was something that really stuck out to me this time around, was like, this man is lying about being a war hero. He's sleeping with young students at this all-women's college, like taking advantage of them, and just kind of a loser. Catherine like keeps choosing him and like keeps trying to be with him, and as these relationships tend to happen, he kind of drags her down. Like, she almost loses her job. They don't really want her to come back because she's with this fucking guy, and I'm like, girl, he is ruining your life and like ruining your career, and it's not worth it. He sucks. You have some explaining to do, Heather, as to why you like this man.
Okay, this must be where I defend myself. Okay, it's not when they're together. It was more like the first 2 acts where I actually liked him more. I liked their friendship more because he was like helping her through and like being there for her. I thought he was charming. I liked his Italian. It's like when he started dragging her down, it was just like, throw him in the pit.
Literally, I was like, get him out of here. Oh my God, I hate to see a woman get taken down by a man. I know I bring this up pretty much every episode, but like, oh my God, it kills me.
Dominic West, like, I like him as an actor, and he makes him so
he's so charming.
A charming loser, and it's just like,
yes.
He makes him so hard to hate him, and like, I like him, but it's just like,
okay. You know what? Okay, I walk it back because I do understand where you're coming from. Dominic West is super fucking charming, and he plays his character a lot. He plays his character on The Wire, but he's a cop. He plays his character in 28 Days Later. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I need to watch that though.
The Sandra Bullock like rom-com. Yeah, he plays Prince Charles on The Crown kind of this way. Dominic West is always this kind of like sleazy charmer. He's super likable. Okay, as an actor, I will give you that, Heather. He does sell it a little bit more.
He's also very good looking.
Super.
So,
yeah.
What
He
can
still
you
looks
really
great.
do? Yeah.
They tried to make him look ugly to play Prince Charles, and all it did
It's
was
hard.
make people think that Prince Charles is hotter than he is. And I'm like, oh no, that man is hideous. It's just Dominic West.
But it's also, he gives off that kind of vibe, like, he's the guy that your mom yells at you for bringing home, and it's just kind of like, but you can't help it.
But Mom, I love him.
I love him. It's like, I feel like Ariel. Like, Daddy, I love him.
That's big Dominic West vibes. Yeah, for sure. What were you going to say, Lindsay?
I do love how once she finds out that he was lying about being a hero, that's kind of it for him. Like, she's like, bye. And especially after he kind of, I don't know, he says something to her and like reads her wrong, and she's like, I'm done. And then that's all we see of him, and I love that they did that.
Oh, when he throws it back into her face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the worst. Not the worst, but he just sucks. It's like, we have to stop the epidemic of hot, smart, successful women being with losers. I'm putting my foot down. I can't take it.
I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
Let me crusade against it, though. I'm out here fighting the good fight, Heather.
I think really every single girl in the movie has this like choice that they are making. Like, Catherine's deciding if she wants to stay or leave, and Betty has her choices, and Joan has her choices. Really, all of the girls are just like struggling with like what to decide for themselves.
Yeah. It's a big kind of study on deciding your future. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I had picked up on this time around that, I mean, I probably had noticed it when I was like 16, but it stuck out a lot more to me, was the classism in this movie. And the classism within white private schools, how competitive they are with each other, how exclusionary they are, how their whole status is based off of like, well, I date a man who goes to Harvard, and well, I date a man who owns a business, and like their whole existence is wrapped up in what the man in their life does and how much money they have or how nice their house is. The classism is fucking crazy in this movie. Especially the way they treat Giselle sometimes. I'm like, wow, it's nuts. The way they treat,
even though she's just as rich as they are.
Yes. And the way they treat their own teacher is crazy. These girls were like, that's all you got? Like, you think you're fucking smart? We read your whole syllabus and did your whole class in one night. So, like, they're constantly flexing on her.
I love the line that the nurse says, like, be careful, they have claws underneath those gloves.
They're mean as hell. They're constantly calling her, what, a bohemian or something? Yeah. It's like, why? Because she's 30 and single? Like, be so for real. Like, she's this radical.
Even when I was, like, watching this for the first time, I was like, what's wrong with being 30 and single?
Not like, a damn thing. And these people are
like, my mom I was raised by a single mom. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
She's 30. Oh my God. Why isn't she married? Oh, disgusting.
Throw her to the wolves.
Throw her out in the agoge. She's too old. Oh, she's decrepit. She's a old maid, a spinster. Yeah, the way they talk about Catherine in this movie is fucking nuts. I'm like, this is the coolest woman you've ever met in your life, and you know it.
Man, I like the secretary when she's sitting there to talk to the head mistress, where she's like, "Oh, what's it like to have classes in California? how do you get things done? And she's like, oh, we just sit outside. She's like, really? Like, no. Like, and she was so disappointed.
Yeah, it's so funny, like, watching white women treat another white woman like this. It's like, oh, she's so exotic. She's from California. She didn't change her last name, and she's not married. Oh, my heavens. And she's a brunette. Oh, no. Yo, the white-on-white violence in this movie is crazy. I'm glad for once they kept us the fuck out of it.
No, there was a couple of black people in there, yeah. But they were in the back.
Leave us out of it.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want no part of this, but it's funny because I was telling Heather before we started recording, I went to an all-women's college. I felt very connected to this story, especially as an adult, 15 plus years out of college at this point, because I went to a private all-women's college that looked and kind of was structured very similarly to Wellesley College. I went to the College of New Rochelle, which was a Catholic school run by a Catholic all-women's liberal arts college. And very, very similar vibes to Wellesley. Like, one of our like main rival schools was like Sarah Lawrence. Yeah. So we played Sarah Lawrence, and we played against them in like basketball tournaments a lot and stuff. Just like the classroom itself, just seeing all these young, bright women and no men in the classroom was so it was so like nostalgic to me. I remember sitting in our history class like that, and sitting in film classes like that, and nice. English literature, and just the vibes of the classroom and the whole campus really, it felt very familiar to me, very nostalgic. It was cool to see. Looking back, just wow. I not that I went, I mean, I'm not that old. I didn't go in the 50s or anything, but that culture and that kind of appearance of the campus itself, the way everything was set up was very
similar.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to what I was going through.
Okay, I thought you were going to say PTSD, but
only a little bit. We definitely got stir crazy in the dorms for sure. Lots of like breaking out of the dorm late at night to like go hang out with boys.
Yeah, how does that work in girls' schools? Like, do you just find the most available school that has boys?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we would walk a mile and a half across town to Iona College to hang out with guys because it was the closest college to us, and we were like, all right, get on your backpack or whatever, let's go fucking walk a mile to go to some frat house just so we could like see men. It made us very like pent up, obviously, but also much more. I liked it for the fact that I feel like I learned so much more and so much better because it was the first time in my life I didn't have boys in the classroom, and I could just focus on my professors and my work and my fellow female classmates who at that time in my life I wasn't very close to like women. I didn't have a lot of female friends, and I was still in my like, late 90s, early 2000s, like pick me era. It was tough. Tough. I was a big guy's girl.
Me
it was
too.
rough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think everyone goes through a phase of it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like one of the guys. Like, oh my god, they hate you. But anyway, or they're in love with you, but they're not going to tell you until you're like 30. So, either way, it wasn't a great time for me. But being at a women's college and turning 18 and like really getting to focus on like myself for the first time and like other women, it really did like fix something in me. You said you wish you had that experience, Lindsay, so I'm assuming you went to a regular co-ed school.
Yeah, I did go to a private university, but there were lots of stupid boys there.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, bummer. Yeah, it was great. There was boys, but they were only in the nursing program and for grad school. But all of undergrad and like non-nursing classes, it was just women. And honestly, it was one of the best things I've ever done. And I didn't even choose that on purpose. I didn't know it was a women's college when I got accepted. I just ended up there. I showed up for orientation. I was like, what the fuck
Did you
is
know
this?
it was a Catholic school?
Yeah, I knew it was Catholic.
Okay.
But I did not know it was all. They bury that shit in the brochure. Let me tell you.
It's like, we need students. We're not going to tell them that it's all
It just said students. It didn't say women. But yeah, I do find there was a lot of similarities as far as even in the early 2000s. Like I started college in 2006, so there was still that residue of like, oh, I gotta find a boyfriend. I gotta settle down right after I'm done with school. I'm like, we don't have to live like this anymore. Like, we don't gotta do this.
Well, when I told you I went to when I graduated from CCAD, I was there from 2014 2018, and that still kind of still felt like that. So
wow.
A little bit, not as much, but still.
It's such a bummer that it's still a lot of the themes in this movie, which takes place in 1953, are still prevalent today. Like one of my college, my freshman year roommate dropped out after like 2 or 3 months because she got pregnant and her boyfriend wanted her to keep it.
That happened too.
And she just left. I never saw her again.
My like freshman roommate too.
Yeah. She was sick all the time, and then it turns out she was pregnant, and now her daughter is starting college. So
oh wow. Hopefully she doesn't get pregnant.
Oh my God, please, yeah, break the generational curse, I beg. But there was also classmates I went to school with I also had classmates who would drop out because of their boyfriends or because I think one of my friends ended up leaving because she got engaged, and of course that lasted like a fucking month, and I don't think she's finished college still. It's just there was a lot of that same behavior and that same kind of focus on like men. And even as someone who wasn't looking to get married and like have kids and all that, I was still running my little ass 2 miles across town to go see boys. And it's just like but yeah, I dodged the bullets. But it's I think that makes the story like pretty timeless, you know?
Yeah. That's why I think he hit it out of the ballpark with it, because it still, even though it's set in the 50s and it was made in 2003, it doesn't feel like it was made in 2003.
Not at all. And we're watching it in 2025 and we're kind of like, yep, that's still a thing. Especially Lindsay and I talk about it a lot, but the whole like kind of Gen Z conservative backlash that's happening right now, and it's a lot of that like trad wife trend and
that's interesting.
I think trad wife is the funniest like thing you can call somebody.
It's so scary. I'm like, y'all, we fought so hard to not be here, and you're willingly putting yourself here. Yeah, we're like dragging you by your fucking ponytail. And you're like, no, I want to be home and have babies. I'm like, stop.
I think it's so weird. Okay, so I'm Christian. I come from a traditional family. Yeah, even though I was raised by a single mom, I have family who are like they've been married. They all were married. I have an aunt who's raising kids. She was a stay-at-home mom, but I also have an aunt they work. They raise their kids. You don't have to be a traditional mom, have babies. You can still work.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. You don't have to be like It's so weird.
It's so weird. They're like, I feel like they're romanticizing, like you said you had, Heather, like when you had seen this when you were younger. I feel like there's a misguided romanticization of this time period of, oh, it was so much better and innocent back in the 50s, and we should all just go back to when women like couldn't work and couldn't own property and da-da-da. And I'm like, those women were fucking miserable. Okay? They were. Your granny was basically a hostage. I'm sorry. She was not happy like 99% of the time. Those women wanted to go to school. They wanted to have a bank account. They wanted to have a driver's license. They wanted to work. Like, they wanted all of those things and were forced not to have them.
Yeah.
It wasn't always, like Lindsay's been saying, it wasn't always a choice. And the romanticism of a time period that really didn't exist, and that false, like, idyllic viewpoint in which we look at the 50s now, it's like become so dangerous. It's because these people are in Congress and teaching other people's children, oh, well, traditional this, and just very like anti-woman, I feel, and very like just we're regressing so much. And I think the romanticism of the 50s is a big reason why, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the problem is that people aren't learning history, a full history. Like I was talking to somebody, like, yeah, you learn history in school, but like for me, I went out and looked. I love history anyway, so I go out and look for it. I read books. Oh, I read fiction, but like I go out and read books. I watch the History Channel. I watch documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go out and look for it, and people don't go out and look for it, so they're gonna like repeat it.
Everything was better back then. I'm like, for who? For who? But anyway,
I just wanted to make sure we're looking at both perspectives, especially with Joan's character. I think this is routed back to Joan, because although
that's true.
Like, although she did make this choice based off of whatever,
because she did want a family.
Yeah, like that was still her choice and like her personal experience.
But was it? Because the only reason that he proposed to her so fast was basically to get her out of going to law school. It's like not said explicitly, but Joan's boyfriend talked to her professor, talked to Catherine, and was like, oh yeah, thanks for letting her think she had a shot at, going to Yale Law.
That scene was crazy.
Yeah, and then he shotgun wedding to her, basically. They were married in within weeks of that. So was it her choice? She wanted to go to law school. She applied. She was accepted. She said she wanted to go. And then all of a sudden she's like, no, well, whatever her boyfriend's name is, he thought it'd be best if we just gave all that up and got married immediately. It was just the timing of it felt very much like, was it really Joan's choice to get married right then and there and not go to law school? I don't think it was.
I hated that for her.
I think I hated it for her because it's there's a part of me that is of course that's valid, and she did maintain throughout, even before the law school thing, she wanted a family, she wanted to be married. All of that rings true. But what doesn't ring quite true for me is the timing of it all. It's very suspicious timing that after you spoke to Catherine, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I gotta marry her right now. It felt kind of like he purposely trapped her. You know what I mean?
Because they could have waited a little bit longer.
Yeah, for sure. But the school year wasn't even over.
Yeah, I just think, they could have had both, but that was her choice.
Yeah. There's also the what's it called? maybe it's because it's also someone who really, I feel like, took her for granted. So do you think that Tommy is like a villain? I'm curious as to both of y'all's reading on Joan's boyfriend slash fiance, then husband, Tommy, played by Topher Grace, who I love. I have a lot of affection for him, but
Hello, Topher.
he's so good at playing like that
Topher.
weaselly kind
See,
of
like Dominic West.
yeah, yes, a very charming weaselly kind of guy. So maybe my read on it is wrong. Maybe I'm just super critical of him, but I'm reading what he did as Malicious. I'm reading it as he met with Joan's professor, realized she got into Yale, and was like, I gotta fucking sabotage it. But are you reading that differently, the both of you?
I don't think that it was like him being intentionally malicious, but just like a product of the system that he knows.
Uh-huh.
And just
like it was just him. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it was just like him expecting her to like do this for him and him not really like, well, I do think maybe he just didn't really care a little because that was just what was expected.
That's kind of yeah, maybe that's what I'm trying to say. It's not that he's like an outright villain, maybe, but
see,
what do you think, Heather?
I read it completely different. I seen it as like that I didn't see him as a villain, and I didn't see it outside the system. I see it like that he was afraid to lose her, like he wanted, because he was really supportive of her throughout the whole movie.
That's true.
But
until she got accepted.
Until she got accepted, and that he saw she did his homework.
That's right.
And she's smarter than him.
She's smarter than him.
So she would like move on without him, and like she'll meet other men and like outgrow him and everything.
That's kind of villain energy, though.
That is some villain energy.
Undercover.
And
yeah, I guess he
Heather,
is. But I just think that she'll outgrow him and like leave him.
Well, that proves my point about him being like kind of malicious towards her. Like he was purposely, again, this is a theme, he was purposely holding her back.
Yeah.
She was doing his homework. Mind you, he's at Harvard, and she's doing all of her homework, plus all of his, plus got into Yale Law School. And he's like, oh, we got to get married right now. And I don't think he did it because I don't think he only did it because A, he loved her, B, it's what was expected of women at that time, C, she did make that choice and did want to be with him. I do feel like there's a little bit of D in there, which is I need to like trap her.
Mm-hmm.
I need to keep her from leaving. I need, like you said, Lindsay, I need dinner on the table at 5.
Yeah. The dinner on the table at 5 scene, he just was so casually like, well, how is she supposed to get dinner on the table at 5? Are you kidding me?
He seemed very flippant about it, very like dismissive of her accomplishments. And like you're saying, Heather, I think it's because he didn't want to lose her, because he knew that she was fucking better than him.
I didn't think that was a villain energy, but I was like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah.
Well, like purposely holding back somebody you love from accomplishing their dreams and like accomplishing their goals, taking something away from them that they worked so hard for, I'm sorry, that's fucking evil. Like that's just straight up like you don't care about her well-being. You just want your dinner and your house and your babies or whatever. And I don't all of the Joan storyline is probably my favorite part of this movie because it's so fascinating but so heartbreaking, and there is such great nuance there as to her and Tommy's relationship. I think it's like one of the central parts of this movie that I like so much.
It feels really realistic.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the weaponized incompetence and the fact that women were told to work full-time jobs, then come home and work a whole nother full-time job of taking care of the house and everyone in it. And men aren't expected to do that. And that was true then. It's still true now. It's gotten better, but I do think Joan's story is the most modern and timeless part, for me anyway.
One of the scenes that stood out to me after Betty's articles, and she comes with the slideshows and she does the ads.
Oh yes. Oh, and I love that scene. Yes. And
she talks about how you can do the physics of baking a meatloaf. You can have dinner at 5. And so, like, she's going through the transition of the ads and telling them to be quiet. But she says dinner at 5. So I think that Joan told Tommy about that class. So I think he was being flippant at her about it.
Oh, wow.
Wait a minute.
So he is throwing it back in her face about it.
Yeah, because his tone.
That's the timeline of it? She does that big speech first and then runs into Tommy? Oh, see, no. Then this proves my point. That man is a fucking dickhead. Fuck that. Oh my God.
They weren't in the classroom. She goes back from her honeymoon.
Betty
writes an article about Julia Roberts, Catherine. Then she does the speech, and then she does the whole article, and then they get married. Because that's when they find out about her getting into Yale.
Yes, you're right. And she's so pissed off because she's like, you could have this. You could be sitting on the Supreme Court one day, and instead you're choosing vacuums. You know, you're worried about your casseroles, and it's such a bummer. But maybe that's one of the lessons of the movie is, like, you can't choose other women's lives for them.
Yeah.
You can't. And I think that was a really hard pill for Catherine to swallow.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it coming on here, like, how because she wanted to become wealthy, because it was like the butterfly effect. She was like a rock dropped into a huge pot, like a lake, and it was like a ripple effect with how everybody changed. But if you think about it, she was a rock. She was unwieldy.
Yeah.
A rock isn't going to change until it's like immersed into water.
Right. And it affects everything around it.
Yeah.
That's a really good analogy.
I like the one where they first introduce the girls.
That's a classic, like,
or like it's all chaos like that. It's like right after they do the school introduction, Joan's running in kissing Tommy, and they're like settling for the night. It's like, so they seeing Catherine, and they're settling in. You get their personalities. You know how they feel about Giselle. You know how you see Joan and Tommy's relationship right away, and how insecure Connie. How Connie's kind of insecure with Betty, but she's also kind of confident.
Right. Oh my God. I would love to get more into Connie and Betty.
Connie and her boyfriend at the beach.
Devastating.
I mean, it was devastating, but it was sweet with, like, I think it showed a lot about what was going on at that time too.
For sure. But why do you think that if he wasn't dating their daughter, why did he choose to hide Connie from those parents? Like, what do you think was happening there?
I don't think he was hiding from her. I think he was hiding from them just because he didn't want to. I think it ended badly. I think the relationship ended really badly. I think he was probably engaged to the daughter, and it just ended really bad.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
That makes more sense. Yeah, because I was reading it as like, oh, wait, is maybe Betty's telling the truth. Maybe he is actually seeing someone else, and he's like hiding Connie from. But Betty is such a bitch. She purposely, she knows how to play into Connie's insecurities like so well, and like really just go for the jugular with that girl. Like, every time Connie was like excited about anything, especially a man, Betty would find some way to fucking ruin it for her.
That's why she shows her playing the cello. She knows the strings. Every time she plays the cello, it seems like that's Betty playing the cello.
Ooh, symbolism.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. She played Connie. Yeah. All the time. I felt so bad for her. Also, did either of y'all notice that Connie's boyfriend in the movie is cousin from
yes. Oh my god,
the bear?
Wait, what? Oh no, I did
That's
not notice
cousin.
That. What?
That's Richie from the bear.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh my god.
Yep, that's super young Eben Moss Bacharach.
Oh
He's
my
so
goodness.
different.
I know, Charlie. That's his character's name. But yeah, Charlie is baby Eben Moss Bacharach from The Bear.
How he's grown.
Right? Blew my mind. I thought I had never seen him before The Bear kind of started blowing up. But he's just such a good character actor. I've seen that man like 20 times and didn't realize it was him. He's been in everything. There's been some other times too where I'm looking at like older like TV shows and I'm like, oh shit. He's been in the game for over 20 years.
That's crazy.
Over 20 years. And I think he talks about that too. Like, he's like so grateful for the success he's having with The Bear, and now he's going to be in the Fantastic Four, and he's like this huge star, and he's like, yeah, I've been acting for like 30 years and just no one knew who I was.
Character acting.
Yeah, he was really a classic, like, that guy. So yeah, I just wanted to shout him out because him and Connie's chemistry was fucking great. I loved them together, and I was so sad.
Best couple.
For sure, the best couple. And it plays very nicely against Betty's relationship with her husband and how unhappy she is, and how really she's, I think, purposely going after Connie so much because she's so like jealous and insecure about what's happening in her own relationship and her own marriage. And she knows, well, up until she makes her own choice and leaves, she's stuck with this man who is cheating on her, who doesn't give a shit about her, who basically only married her to be a housekeeper. And her mother kind of forced her into that marriage, and she's miserable and taking it out on like everyone, especially Connie and Giselle.
Oh yeah. In a way, Joan too.
Yep.
Because they were best friends.
And Catherine. She kept writing all those nasty articles about her professor. I'm like, girl, she's trying to help you.
Well, and if you count the nurse too, because she got the nurse fired.
I want to talk about Amanda, the school nurse played by Juliet Stevenson. They did her so dirty. I found her story just especially heartbreaking. Like, when we come upon her in the movie, her lover had passed away, and she was like pretty openly a gay woman in the early 1950s, which is unheard of, especially in this kind of upper crust society. And she gives one of the students a diaphragm, birth control, and Betty gets her fired and just attacks this woman so relentlessly because she was trying to help a student like not get pregnant and not end up in a place where she didn't want to be necessarily, or wasn't ready to be. And I think a lot of her strong reaction to that, Betty's reaction to that, was like, well, I didn't have a choice, and why should anybody else? Or like, well, if you're not trying to get pregnant, then you shouldn't be having sex. You're not married. Like, she was so brainwashed and so angry that other women around her were making their own choices. I think her like underlying insecurity about her place in life and her marriage and her relationship with her mother and all of what was going on with Betty throughout this movie. I think it was really unfair, but she took a lot of it out on Amanda as well. It's like, can you just leave this woman alone? She
went through enough.
She's been through enough.
I was pretty sad that we didn't get to see more of her. Like it set it up like we were gonna, like she was gonna be like a character, but then nope.
Yeah, they kicked her out of the school pretty early into the movie.
And Julia Stevenson did a great job with.
Mm-hmm.
She was great in this movie. I loved, like you said, she's not in it a lot, but she does a lot with a little. She's so memorable, and so sympathetic, and I thought her performance was so beautiful and like restrained. You know, you could see that pain and that loss behind a lot of her performance, but it's not these big screaming, crying, you know, kind of overt moments in her performance. It's very like, she's just, you can see that she's in pain and that she's struggling with this loss and struggling with being gay in a very, very judgmental, homophobic environment. Mm-hmm. And then losing her job on top of it for trying to like do right by one of her students. She got done so dirty. I fucking hated how Juliet Stevenson's story ended in this movie. It really pissed me off.
Now I wonder how out she was. If how many people actually knew, because I don't.
Nancy said
Nancy knew
first thing. She was like, "Oh well, she's a lesbian," and her partner just died. I was like, "Nancy, shut up!"
She's the god.
It was like the first thing she said to Catherine when she showed up to the boarding house. Messy. She's messy as hell.
I'm kind of hoping that Betty was secretly closeted too.
Talk about it, Lindsay. Please talk about it. There's a lot of homoeroticism in this movie for sure. And again, as someone who went to an all-women's college, also tracks. Well, I will say that.
At the very end, there's emphasis when she says, "And I'm moving in with my girl roommate."
Yeah.
So.
And I'm moving to the I think she said the East Village of New York City.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, is she gay? Is she? I don't know. Something about Betty. She's so fascinating. I thought Kirsten Dunst, it's not something she does often, but she's a great villain in this movie. She is so textured and complicated, and you feel bad for her and you want to like her, but she makes it so fucking hard.
But then so easy in the end.
Yeah.
She has a lot of depth.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a very well-written young woman character. And she keeps a lot of the story going. Like she's the catalyst for a lot of what happens throughout the movie. Excuse me, positive and negatively. Yeah, which like you said, Heather, the ending. I love the big like bicycle scene when they're all riding along. So another one of my favorite scenes is, and this happens in like every like teacher movie, and I love it every time. There's always that scene, you know, where they're like, throw out the book, and there's always like that big radical, like, you know, they do it in Dead Poets Society where they all like stand on the desks.
Yeah.
Or even like a newer example in Top Gun Maverick, when like Maverick is teaching them like these like really serious like flying maneuvers, and he like picks up the book and literally throws it out, and he's like, throw this book out, that's not how you learn how to fly. And I'm like, it kind of is though, but there's always like a scene like that. I feel like in teacher stories and stories that take place out of school, where they have their big classroom moment of like, think outside the box, and I'm going to teach you to look at the world in a new way. And it's like a staple. And the big like radical teacher scene in this movie, besides the one that you've already mentioned, Heather, her yelling about the advertisements and how women are portrayed in modern art as just like homemakers and baby makers. The scene where she presents the Jackson Pollock painting to the classroom and all the different reactions to this painting and how the girls are seeing it like up close in their faces in this big kind of storage room, like just looking at this painting, and her whole lesson plan and her whole like assignment for that class is like just look at it and think, and they're like, whoa. Like, whoa.
I do have to say, like, this was my number one favorite scene in the movie.
Ooh, okay.
Because I love Jackson Pollock.
Ooh.
I love his paintings. I love the drip. I try to recreate it, but it doesn't ever work.
Wow,
I get too
really?
messy. Yeah.
So are you familiar with that piece that they show?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh my God. Okay. Tell us about it.
So it's going to art school is just like you get familiar with like all kinds of art. I can't remember everything. But I just like, so watching it, it's like I wish I was in that room. Like staring at, like getting really close. I love how watching, like learning about the process that he went through, and like it evokes like the like chaos and the controlled chaos and the emotions that will bring out in you, and the color usage, and why he used the color, and like,
Betty's first reaction is like, oh, well, this is stupid, or this is ugly, or this isn't art.
Well, Connie says that she's glad that, and it's like my thing was that stood out from the scene is that Connie says that she's glad that Betty wasn't there.
That's right.
Right. Betty wasn't there
because she was on her honeymoon. It was one of the girls that was making fun of it.
Yes, but, like, you're right. It was a different girl because Betty had such a poor reaction to
everything else,
to everything that Catherine had shown them throughout the movie. Yeah.
But like we've done something like that at my school. I'm like, to be fair, like I went to a co-ed, and there's been some guys that had some pretty insightful like reactions to it, but like some guys like so stupid comments.
Right, and it's like, you could just like not talk, right?
Yeah. But like,
I'm so serious. It's like so disruptive and irritating to be in a classroom full of especially like young white dudes, especially the more like sheltered they are, the more they think they know everything. And I'm like, you've never been outside. You've never had a job. You've never lived outside of your mommy's basement or lived or gone anywhere outside of the suburbs except, your family trip to Disney every year or whatever. Like, you don't have a culture. Like, shut the fuck up and learn something, or look deep within yourself and like think about not even just art, but I found this a lot in my high school like English classes, for example, where like we would be reading the Odyssey or Moby Dick or something, and anytime a white dude especially would like speak about the work, it would just be to say, this is dumb, I don't get it, this is stupid, it's boring, or trying to make some like wild comparison to another work that we had studied in the class that had nothing to do with it.
Or
and
some
it's
kind of sex joke.
Or a sex joke. Yeah. Or talking over whatever girl was speaking to like make her feel stupid.
Oh, that's annoying.
And it's just like, I feel like I'm just, again, so happy I didn't have that experience in college. It was just exhausting. And I wish a lot more people, I think especially you, Lindsay, you probably would have loved going to an all-women's college.
Yeah, I can't stop thinking about it. It sounds like it would have been so much nicer than my experience. Like the idea,
it was a dream.
Like, especially in this movie, like anytime they would show any art, and you like, even the audience would just have to be like watching it And it feels so specific to, like, a group of girls also observing it. It's so, like, gentle.
In the way they would, like, observe things within the piece.
Yeah.
Very, like, detail-oriented, very, just more, like, emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I think that's a really good point. I agree. But yeah, that's one of my favorite tropes in these types of movies is, like, the big radical teachers stand on a desk, like, kind of scene. They do it in all... You're a big teacher movie person, right, Lindsay?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Me too.
I thought so. Oh, are you? That's funny.
Yes.
What are... We'll have recommendations at the end, but what are, off the top of your head, some of your favorite, like, teacher movie stories or teacher stories?
Oh my god. Dead Poet Society, obviously.
Yep.
Also, Lean on Me is with Morgan Freeman.
Ooh, I love Lean on Me.
That's a good one.
Oh man,
I used to watch that movie so much when I was young. When he's walking around with a baseball bat.
What's even funnier is that
that's a real guy, right?
He's a real guy, and it's funny because my I call him my stepdad, but my mom's fiance looked like Morgan Freeman. Looked like Morgan Freeman, and he had that kind of same attitude. So I had to straighten up real quick.
Yo, not you getting him for real.
But he kind of talked like he talked like Samuel L. Jackson. He looked like Morgan Freeman, talked like Samuel L. Jackson, and kind of acted like a Morpheus
from The Matrix.
From The Matrix. What's his actor? What's the actor's name?
Lawrence Fishburne.
Like Lawrence Fishburne. So I would call him Morgan L. Jackson. Or I would switch it up, and then I would switch it up. So, anytime he would act a certain way. Sometimes, but he would act like Lawrence Fishburne from The Blackish.
Okay, yes.
As Pops.
He's the grandfather on that show. Yeah. That is so funny. Oh my god, I love that. That must have been a really entertaining time, I hope. Not too traumatic.
No,
but...
not too traumatic. It wasn't traumatic, it was hilarious.
That's great.
Because he was a cool dude.
Oh, that's awesome. What about you, Lindsay? What are some of your favorite teacher stories?
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot. I feel like I need to... The only one that's coming up is that bad teacher movie with Cameron Diaz.
Oh, I've never seen that. Oh,
that's a good one.
Oh my god.
That's the only teacher movie I can think of.
I meant more like inspirational teacher movies, not shitty teacher movies.
I have some of them, but I'm tempted to look them up now.
School of Rock.
Oh yeah, School of Rock, for sure.
Hello. The blueprint.
Also, for that as a filmmaker,
Matilda.
With that Jackson. Oh,
Matilda.
Yes, I forgot about. I didn't think about
Miss
Matilda.
Honey. I loved Miss Honey so much.
I wanted Miss Honey to adopt me.
Me too. 100%. Oh my god, I would have let that woman take me anywhere.
I was like, peace out, Mom.
Yeah, sorry, bye. I'm gonna go live with Miss Honey.
Fun fact, Miss Trunchbull played Aunt Marge in Harry Potter.
Oh my god, that is her. The one she turned into like a balloon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. That is her. Oh my god. Wow.
I didn't realize that until last year.
She's always playing some annoying ass lady. That's so funny.
As a filmmaker with that Jackson Pollock scene, oh my goodness, that shot where they're all down the line. Oh my goodness, I love it.
I love that. I think this is one of Mike Newell's, I'm sure this is probably still on his director reel. I think it's so beautiful, and like you said, the way that he is so zoomed in at first on the painting and the texture of it, and then you get like the scope of how big it is as they unwrap it. You get to see every like woman in the classroom, her reaction to it. It's such great coverage and just really good direction in that scene. I agree, because like that scene could have been so boring. It could have just been like them like opening a box and like showing you like just a piece of paper, but it's so cinematic the way that he shot it, and it's such an impactful scene, and it's always something I'm a sucker for in a movie. But I especially love the way they did this one, and I thought Julia Roberts was really great in that scene too, of just like, this is like the point in the movie where she's like kind of had enough of these girls, you know. She's like, just look at the fucking painting, like I'm tired of y'all. I love that part.
Have you seen To Sir with Love?
Yes. Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
I love that movie. It used to be on TCM a lot when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I'd check it out on Turner Classics a lot. To Sir with Love is amazing. I think you would really like that one too, Lindsay. It's what, the 60s?
Yeah, I think it's 64.
Yeah.
What is To Sir?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. With Love. And it's like, obviously it's a young black man, a teacher.
He goes to teach in England.
In England, yeah. And it's a bunch of like white kids, and they're just like, what? Like,
so it's the complete opposite of going to an inner city.
Who was your favorite
Julia
performance, Lynn?
Roberts.
Yeah. That's it. Of course, you know.
It's so obvious, but she did such a good job, I just have to say. I love her so much. I love every single thing she's ever been in. I love her.
Oh, right, because we talked about
yes, Pelican
the
Brief
Pelican
is one of my
Brief.
favorite movies.
Excellent. That is such a good. I love that movie.
I haven't seen that movie actually.
John
I hadn't seen it
Grisham?
until.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
I think it's a Grisham novel. Yeah, so it's of that like early '90s like thriller legal drama. It's fantastic. Her and Denzel Washington.
I recently watched Mystic Pizza. I think it was her first movie.
I think so.
So it's like you can see where she started, where she built, how good she was then, and see her in this.
I know, yeah,
and how big of a star she would become.
For sure. Oh, it's like apparent. It's obvious with her, like right away. She brings so much to her performances. I like when she goes big, but I also like how there's always that kind of like quiet kind of smolder to a lot of what she does.
My favorite performance of hers is like My Best Friend's Wife.
Oh, she's so evil in that. I just saw that for the first time like last summer.
She's so evil, but she's
the worst.
She's the worst friend. But there's such a But yeah, there's such a vulnerability that she brings to the role. It's just kind of like, she's the worst friend. It's just like, she loves him. She doesn't realize that she loves him, but it's that giving up. It's like giving up at the end and just like, you know what, I love you and I want your happiness more than anything else.
Right, yeah. Which, good. She didn't deserve him.
She did not.
She's awful in that movie. What are some of your other favorite performances of Julia Roberts, Lindsay?
Have you guys seen Runaway Bride? Well, I love Pretty Women, but
yes.
I've never seen Pretty Woman.
What?
I know. I know.
Wow.
I've never seen Pretty Woman or Notting Hill.
I also love Notting Hill. I think I've probably seen every single Julia Roberts movie ever.
That's amazing. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen probably 3/4 of them, if not more, but there's some big ones that have just...
I know that Eat, Pray, Love gets a lot of hate, but I only like it because Julia Roberts is in it.
Yeah, she's... she just... When I think of, like, the 90s and, like, mega stars, she's, like, one of the first people I think of.
Yeah.
Her, Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington, like Brad Pitt, like that era of Hollywood is so solid. And I feel like people were just, I don't know if it's that they were more talented back then, but maybe just more
low key.
authentic. Yes, more authentic on the screen
not to
than
mention
nowadays.
literally how people look now.
Ooh, girl, the filler and the fake teeth and
They need to stop.
They all look the same now. They're
starting to take out the cheek fat.
Yeah, the buccal fat removal. Who's your favorite performance, Heather?
Jennifer Goodwin, actually. I was at Jennifer Goodwin and Maggie Gyllenhaal tag team for me.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
They were usually together. But,
yes, that's true.
But I loved, with Jennifer Goodwin, I liked how she was strong, but they both showed like a strongness and a vulnerability to their characters.
Mm-hmm.
But with Jennifer, she also showed that insecurity, that underlying insecurity with her like strongness.
Mm-hmm.
And you know but also like that fear that she would end up like Marcia Gay Harden.
I loved that like subtle like comparison of Connie and Nancy.
Yeah.
And how you could see Connie's like wheels turning every time she was around Nancy, and she's like, oh shit, am I gonna end up like that? Like, am I gonna end up like this crazy like kind of delusional lady who like is stuck in this boarding house and is never like I love the way she interacted with Nancy. That was a great kind of like
parallel.
Fun. Yeah, the parallel. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. And what about Maggie Gyllenhaal's performance? I love Giselle too, by the way. I'm a huge Maggie Gyllenhaal fan, and this was around the time of Secretary. Oh my god, the movie was
a good movie.
Yeah, I was watching Secretary a lot at this time. I will not be answering any further questions. I have loved Maggie Gyllenhaal since God, I think Donnie Darko was probably the first thing I had seen her
I still have not seen that.
Oh wow. It's one of the only times her and Jake are together in a movie playing brother and sister.
Crazy.
Yeah, I showed Lindsay Donnie Darko last year, I think. We had a movie night, but I've been a fan of Maggie for a long time. So I'm interested to hear why you enjoyed her performance so much.
I love her as an actress anyway, and a director. I love her movies.
I haven't seen anything she's directed yet.
She's a good director.
I believe it.
But I just love her I love her deliveries of her lines. Mm-hmm. But she's also a strong character, even though she's kind of like offbeat, kind of like nonchalant about everything. But of the group, she's actually the mother. If you think about it, she's the one that actually takes care. She's the observer. She actually is the one that's taking care of everybody. She's like, makes sure everybody's okay. She takes it. She cares about everybody. Doesn't matter, even though she's like, she has that vulnerability to her.
Yeah,
and she doesn't show it
with all the like interplay with her and Bill and her like standing outside of his apartment like stalking him basically and like crying. And wow, I never thought of her as like the mother figure of this story, because it's obvious that you would put like Julia Roberts as that in that position, but you're so right. You've really touched on something I hadn't even considered. She really like looked after all the girls.
Yeah, because I'm like,
and she's so loving and
even you would also think it would be Joan, but it really but Joan's more like in her little own world.
Yeah.
But she's actually the one she takes care of everybody. She's always observing. She's always asking.
Yeah, she embraced
asking about
Betty
everybody.
After Betty was literally calling her so many awful names.
Yeah.
She sure did. Yeah, Betty was in her face cussing her out, and she just like hugged her, and she's like, I know you're hurting. Oh wow. Yeah, Giselle is a great character. And I thought, Maggie was so strong in this role. That's a great choice as well.
About my sad moments, because at least I'm being vulnerable just like Giselle.
Yeah, that's very true. She she knew how to let herself feel like the full range of her emotions.
Yeah.
Especially in a time when that was like not really acceptable. So there was speaking of music, I don't know if either of you know Tori Amos, but
Yes.
she's in this movie. She has a really fun little cameo in this movie as the wedding singer. And I totally forgot she was in this. When that scene came up and she's like on stage, I'm like, oh fuck, that's Tori Amos. Like it was so surprising. She's not like a big movie person, you know, like she's very kind of private and like doesn't really do a lot of this type of stuff. So it was just so jarring seeing like a big indie like a big indie artist like that in kind of like a mainstream Julia Roberts movie. That was completely unexpected to me.
Yeah,
I forgot she was in this.
Yeah, I loved it. It tickles my stomach every time. I love it.
Oh,
but
yeah, she looks great too. She fit right in.
Speaking of the wedding scene, there was another unnoticed cameo, and it makes me mad every time. You know the guy that's the male wedding singer?
No, who is that?
He mouths, lip syncs to Seal's singing.
Okay, that's what they were talking. Okay, so when I was looking up the soundtrack and like seeing if it had won any awards, yeah, I noticed that Seal was on the soundtrack and that he had like a big song from this movie.
Yeah,
I was like, but he's not in the movie.
Seal's singing, but there's a white guy who lip syncs to it in the movie, and it makes me mad every single time I watch it. But
that pisses me off,
and it pisses me off every time. But I'm like, I have to calm myself down every single time because I have to remind myself they don't let Black people sing at white weddings in the 50s.
True. Oh my god, that's so irritating though. Damn, so I didn't even pick that up that was Seal's voice.
I need to watch it again just to hear that.
Wow, I caught... Yeah, for sure.
If you catch it, it looks really weird when you catch it.
And it's this like just regular nondescript white dude with...
Yeah.
I wondered... You just blew my mind with that. I did not even notice that.
Yeah, and look, this guy, he just looks like he just picked somebody up from a football game.
Yeah. Who's like, hey, you're white, like, put on a suit, and like... That's so nuts. That's a great little bit of trivia. I did notice, obviously, the big like end credit song is Elton John, obviously.
Oh yeah, I get that song stuck in my head every time.
Really? I didn't really like it. I don't really like it. I thought that song was like kind of cheesy and very like I don't know. Yeah, a little bit like what's the word I'm looking for? Like patronizing. It was very just weird. Speaking of trivia, I also saw there was a lot of backlash from the women of Wellesley who actually went to the school during this time period. They were pissed about this movie.
Really?
Yeah, they were pissed about the way they were portrayed and the way that it made them seem kind of like just happy little housewives, like, in that Wellesley was portrayed as like in Julia Roberts' big like freak out scene when she refers to the college as like a finishing school to just like prep women to go off and get married. And a lot of the women who went to Wellesley at that time were like, no, it wasn't. Like, I don't want to be seen as that. That's not how it was for me. But yeah, there was quite a bit of...
That's crazy because they didn't say that that happened for everybody. I mean, she was freaking out just because of Joan happened to like 2 people.
Right. She wasn't saying everybody who went to Wellesley was, turned into a...
Yeah.
It could be. It maybe could be, but there apparently was a lot of women from Wellesley like speaking out against this movie at the time that it came out because it was a big hit. And they were like, well, it wasn't like that. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I wasn't there, shit, I don't know, but yeah. And another funny thing I saw was that Kirsten Dunst lost the Teen Choice Award for Choice Movie Sleazebag to Stifler from American Wedding.
No, it's funny. I remember that because I voted
Sean William Scott.
I voted for Kristen Dunst.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Over Stifler?
I wasn't allowed to watch any of those movies.
Oh man. See, I was allowed to watch everything growing up, so can't relate.
Well, with my mom, I wasn't allowed to watch anything. But when I was with my grandparents and my uncle, I can watch other stuff.
There you go. So I thought I would have seen some sort of nominations besides the Teen Choice Award, but this movie, people did not really like it that much.
I think it was just still like female-led, so it didn't hit a lot of the target audiences for the awards.
That's a really good point. It was of that time when it was, as soon as you had like a large cast of women, it was automatically a quote-unquote chick flick or a rom-com, and it wasn't taken seriously. That's great context, Heather. That's probably definitely part of it.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Well, the demographic is what I was looking for, yeah.
The demographic, yes, yeah. It's like, oh, this is a bunch of like young girls, who cares? What affected you most about this movie? What were some other things that this movie drew out of you, or a reason that you return to it so often?
I've been trying to put it into words. I guess it's more like the emotional beats. They're like the quote unquote hero's journey that they go through, like from start to finish, like how they affect. I like how they affect each other, like knowing and unknowingly. Not like how Catherine, like, she goes in there to change. She quote unquote wants to change the world by teaching, and her world gets changed by them.
Oh, I
love that. And it's just like,
that's so touching.
And I just love how one affects the other.
I feel like just simple stories like this have become a lot more disposable.
Yeah,
I guess is the word I'm looking for. And it's such a bummer. But when you do find movies like this in modern days, I feel like it stands out so much more, because you're like, wow, an actual like beautifully shot story that's about women. It's in that same vein of like just smaller, more intimate stories. Especially, it's rare for female-led indie movies to get their shine. That's why I'm really happy about what's going on with Anora, and The Substance as well. That was, I think, my second favorite movie of last year.
That was my favorite movie of last year. I'm like, I love that Demi Moore is finally getting her awards, and like when I found out that somebody called her a popcorn actress, I was so mad.
She has not gotten her flowers. I hope she deserves the world. When she won the Golden Globe, I think she kind of blew everybody's mind right away, because in her acceptance speech, she was like, I've never been nominated for anything before. And I was like,
what?
How the fuck? You made Ghost. Yeah. Like,
she should have been nominated for Ghost.
G.I. Jane? What are we talking? St. Elmo's Fire? Like, it's fucking crazy. I had no idea. Indecent Proposal, she's never been nominated for fucking anything. I was like, that's crazy. I never would have guessed that. I loved, yes, The Substance was right behind Dune 2 for me, and a female-led indie movie like that, I just think they're so exciting to see, and I'm so happy they're still being made. What were some things that affected you about it, Lindsay?
Although all of the girls kind of like dogged Catherine initially. They were like craving a teacher like her so bad. And all throughout the entire movie, especially Betty, they were just like battling, like wanting to give in to like the thoughts and ideas that she had to share. It was just so beautiful to watch. It was just such a impactful but gentle movie, just about art and music and women
and like girlhood. And it's so like cheesy, but that is literally one of my favorite things, is when people go into a relationship or some sort of situation thinking one thing and then leaving changed for the better. I love that. So I had already touched on it a little bit, but there's something about this movie, even though it is sentimental and it ultimately is very uplifting and touching, it does leave you with that, like, or me anyway, it leaves me with like that little bit of melancholy of like, damn, it really is fucking hard to be a young woman, you know, and to be a woman in general, to to have a touch of the melancholy. I have big sad clown vibes.
There was a balance between the girls had these capabilities, but then stuck with reality, but then we're also optimistic of what they still have to offer and what they can still do.
Even nowadays, as far as women's choices and education and how to, having relationships or choosing not to have relationships. I think that they showed like a nice, and Catherine as well, when she gets proposed to and everyone's like, oh, congratulations, you're gonna get married, and she's like, who said that?
She still looks shocked.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I'm not, I said no. She's like, I'm not marrying him. And everyone was like, what? Like, you could tell she blew their minds by not choosing something that they were like assuming would make her like the happiest person in the world. That was, I think, such an important example that Catherine set for these girls. Is like, yeah, this is one way you could be a woman. Your way is also valid. Your way is also valid. Go be an artist. Go get married. Go have kids. Don't have kids. Like, go to law school. Don't go to law school. But there are multiple different things you could do and be in this world.
Live your life the way you want it. You only have one life to live.
Exactly. And there's no one way to be a woman. So do you have any other recommendations for similar works? I had The Holdovers.
Good movie.
Loved. I thought I got big Holdovers vibes from this one. I also said Dead Poet Society, of course. Stepford Wives, the original Stepford Wives, for very obvious reasons, but just the theme of like womanhood, having to revolve your whole life around being a homemaker and kind of the toll that takes on a woman, and how not every woman wants to live like that, and sometimes women don't have a choice.
You know, it's a good one. Serial Mom.
Oh my god, Serial Mom. Ooh. Oh. Wow. Yeah. Very, very campy, but still on theme. I like that. I'm putting that in the notes. Serial Mom.
I don't know if it's on theme, but have you heard The Hours?
Ooh, no, that's great. Yes, Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep, right? Thank you for being here, Heather. Thank you for chatting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, love to have you back. Is there anything you want to plug? Do you have any creative projects? What do you want out in the world?
Well, I am obviously on Letterboxd. Nice. You can find me under, Wallflower Rose. I have a blog called I'm working on a blog called Watching Movies with Heather and Snickers, which Snickers is my dog. I'm working through the 1,001 movies list. So,
Whoa.
yeah, I'm only on 70 right now.
It's okay. It's a multi-year project.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about turning it into a podcast. So doing this with you guys is like making it fun for me. So maybe
perfect.
I'll actually do it. So, but
yeah, I would love that. We need more women talking about movies in the podcasting space. I would love to listen to your
colleagues.
Pod. Yeah.
Yes, we do. We need more colleagues. Listen, jump in. Water's warm. Us, Anna, we're here. 1,001 movies. That's such a daunting list. I think I looked at my percentage of what I've seen one time on Letterboxd. I think it's like 20%, maybe. And I've seen almost 3,000 movies. I haven't seen any. Goodness. I still haven't seen like 75% of what's on that list. It's crazy. I'm so impressed that you've taken that on, because that's a big viewing project.
Oh yeah, the craziest one so far was this movie from Russia. I can't even remember what it was called. It was like something from it had ancestors in the title, but so far I'm not a fan of the Baltic states right now.
Ooh, yeah, I haven't seen a lot of those movies.
They're kind of depressing.
Very, and I've heard they're like long too.
Yeah.
Which sometimes, Shadows of Our Forgotten Ancestors.
Yes, but I try to stay positive.
Do you write about each of the movies you see?
Yeah.
Wow, you were getting your reps in, girl.
So I'm doing, like, I'm working off that list that my old boss gave me, and the top 50 list from like the past several years. So,
wow. We love a project.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we would love to have you back on. When you get up and going, if you decide to do a pod, we would definitely love to come on.
Definitely.
Thank everybody for listening. We are going to plug our normal plugs. We've got Letterboxd. We are Post Film Clarity, all one word on Letterboxd. We are Post Film Clarity Pod on YouTube, IG, and also on TikTok. You can contact us via email at postfilmclaritypod@gmail.com. I just want to say hi once again to JJ from the Ringerverse group.
Hi, JJ.
Hey, JJ. I love that you listen to every episode and that you always have such constructive and fun feedback. It's just really nice to have someone who's like really an active participant in this project. So he's so cool. Thank you. Thanks for being there, JJ.
Our next episode will be on the 1988 musical Beaches by Gary Marshall.
Hell yeah. Love that movie.
So for our next episode, my very good friend from middle school. We actually met in middle school.
Wow.
Her name is Hayden.
There we go. I'm like, who?
Her name is Hayden Glenn.
Amazing. And you met around the same time as the characters in Beaches.
Oh my god, that's so true.
Age-wise.
And we all have cats.
Love that. I'm really excited to do that.
That's awesome.
We're all cat mothers. Okay, so yeah, next episode will be on Beaches, which came out the year I was born. So, 88 babies, we are thriving. Thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you next episode. Bye, honeys.